It is 2 a.m. Everyone else is asleep. The house is completely silent. The street outside is empty. And for the first time all day, your brain finally wakes up. Not just wakes up, lights up, ideas start flowing, thoughts become clearer. Problems you could not solve all day suddenly have obvious answers. Creative impulses you suppressed through every meeting and every obligation and every forced conversation finally surface and breathe. And you sit there in the quiet dark thinking, this is when I actually feel like myself. If you know exactly what I am describing, this video is for you. Because being a night owl is not a bad habit. It is not laziness. It is not something you need to fix with a better morning routine. It is a fundamental neurological difference in the way your brain is wired. And tonight, we are going to explore exactly what that means. Let us start with the science. Every human being has something called a chronotype. Your chronotype is your biological clock, the internal timing system encoded in your DNA that determines when your brain and body naturally peak in energy, focus, creativity, and alertness. Morning chronotypes, the people who genuinely love waking at 6 a.m., experience their peak mental performance in the early hours. Their cortisol rises fast in the morning, giving them energy and focus at dawn. But night owl chronotypes experience something completely different. Their cortisol rises later. Their core body temperature peaks later. Their melatonin releases later. Everything in their biological system is shifted toward the night. And this is not a choice. This is not a discipline problem. A 2019 study published in Nature Communications analyzed the DNA of over 700,000 people and identified 351 specific genetic variants associated with being a night owl. Your preference for staying up late is literally written in your genes. You did not choose this any more than you chose your eye color. But here is where it gets truly fascinating. Research suggests that night owls on average score higher on measures of intelligence, creativity, and abstract thinking than morning types. A study from the University of Madrid tested over 1,000 teenagers and found that evening types, the night owls, outperformed morning types on inductive reasoning, which is the ability to identify patterns, think abstractly, and generate original ideas. Another study found that night owls demonstrated greater working memory capacity and faster processing speed during their peak hours. Why? Because the brain of a night owl does not just function later, it functions differently. The night itself changes how you think. When the world goes quiet, your brain is freed from the constant flood of external input it has been processing all day. No notifications, no obligations, no social performance, no noise. And in that silence, your default mode network, the system responsible for imagination, self-reflection, creative connection, and deep insight, finally has the space and the quiet to do its most powerful work. There is something else about the night that most people never think about, but every night owl understands instinctively. The night is honest. During the day, everything is performance. You perform productivity. You perform social ease. You perform being fine. You answer emails and smile at the right moments and say, "I'm good" to everyone who asks, even when you are not. The day is a costume you wear. But at 2 a.m., when there is no audience and no schedule and no one watching, all of that falls away. It is just you and your thoughts and the dark and the silence. And in that honesty, people who are deeply sensitive, deeply introspective, and deeply wired for inner life find the only time of day where they can actually hear themselves think. This is why so many of history's most brilliant creative minds were night owls. Marcel Proust wrote almost exclusively at night. Franz Kafka only wrote after midnight. Charles Darwin did his deepest thinking in late evening walks. Winston Churchill famously worked past 3 a.m. These were not people failing at morning routines. These were people who understood that their minds needed darkness and silence to produce their best work. Now I want to address something important because most night owls carry a quiet but heavy burden. Society is built for morning people. School starts at 8 a.m. Work starts at 9 a.m. Early bird gets the worm is considered wisdom. You should go to bed earlier is considered advice. And night owls have spent their entire lives being told that their natural rhythm is a moral failure. You are lazy. You are undisciplined. You are wasting the day. But imagine if we told left-handed people they were doing it wrong. Imagine if we called people with blue eyes undisciplined for not having brown ones. Your chronotype is as biological and as fixed as those things. The world's schedule does not match your biology. That is a design problem with the world's schedule, not a character flaw in you. So what does all of this mean for you? It means that the version of yourself that comes alive at midnight, the one who thinks deeply and feels fully and creates freely and finally exhales, that is not your night self. That is just you. Your real self. The one that the daytime schedule has been suppressing all along. If this felt like someone finally understood something you have never been able to explain, leave a comment and tell me what time your brain truly comes alive. And subscribe so you never miss a video that reminds you that being wired differently is not something to fix. It is something to understand, protect, and be quietly proud of. I will see you in the next one.